Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Motivation, the show where we dive headfirst into the most amazing minds. My guest today is no stranger to your television. You have seen him, you have heard from him. He is none other than the love doctor, Edris Khamissa. Assalamu alaikum, brother Edris. How are you?
You know what? Even if I was dying, I'll be resuscitated by your energy. Alhamdulillah, I'm doing great. So good to interact with you.
Oh, it's fantastic. Energy is what we want to give to everyone because we feed off energy as human beings. This is what we do and this is who we are. And that's where I want to start with you. Who are you and what is your mission?
I remember when I conduct workshops, I often ask people, "Who are you?" And they will say, Idris. I said, "I didn't ask you your name. I'm doctor. I said, "I didn't ask you your profession." But the best answer I got, and it's something I'm trying to subscribe to, I'm nothing but a humble servant of Allah. And I also reminded of Maulana Rumi, when he said, "When I die, do not search for me in the graves, but search for me in the hearts of people." And inshallah, I pray that we have impacted on the hearts of people. We made a difference. When they see us with a little glow. They say, "My gosh, he made a difference," and I like it.
I've heard many answers to that question, but that is exactly what I was looking for. Depth is what we are looking for. And what deeper connection can we have with another individual when it comes to anything except relationships? When we look at relationships, that's what I want to discuss with you today. People are going through so much of trouble. People are struggling, whether they want to get married and can't find a partner, whether they're in a marriage and it's become stagnant, the marriage has become rocky, they have no idea which way to go, and there's no guidance. They've been looking, there's books to read, there's things to do, there's people to hear, and there's so much of information out there. But I want to ask you your advice when it comes to people. And let's start first. When it comes to someone looking for a relationship, he finds somebody, and now he wants to take it to the next step. Does he go out and say to this person, here is who I am, accept me for who I am? Or do they then start slowly working through big issues, small issues, to understand if they are connectable and then work their way forward from there?
You know what? I think this question has never been asked of me before. But I'll tell you something. The biggest discovery you make when you are married is not so much the other person, but yourself. You begin to realize that perhaps you have a low threshold. You begin to realize, my gosh, you know what? I'm somewhat pessimistic in life. It makes you realize sometimes I get very, very easily irritated. And it's very, very important for you to go on the journey. There's no greater journey than the journey of self-discovery. And when you meet with another person, you could ask some fundamental question. It's not about the good looks, charming, like I tease. I tell my wife, "Darling, my baby," and I like it. I mean, did you marry me for my good looks and my intelligence?
Yeah.
Why did you marry me? Of course, not for my muscles, right? And this is it's a very important thing to understand what it is that makes a happy home. It is not the superficial things. It's not even the wealth. It's about the character, that individual. When you look at them, you feel a sense of security. Therefore, we are told that couples are garments unto each other. I mean, you know that, Mo. I mean, in terms of the work you do, some days you have a tough day, but you want to come to someone that is empathetic, someone who says, "I understand." And I know sometimes, for example, when I deal with so many issues, people's anger, and people ask me, how do you manage? What do you do? I say sometimes, it is a bit too much. And I come home, my wife will ask me, "How was your day?" I said, "Darling, it was a tough day. Tough day." I lie on her lap. She'll I still got hair, right? She put her hand on my hair and she just give me a hug. That's enough, And that's beautiful because your home must be a haven, a sanctuary.
So if I'm listening correctly to you and if I can hear what you're saying, it is heal yourself before you actually want to go out there and find a partner. Because I truly believe that broken people attract broken people and healed people attract healed people. So if you want to find a partner and if you are going out there looking for a partner, we go internal first. We heal all our faults. look inside of us and say to ourselves, I have these faults, I have these flaws. So instead of picking a person, pulling out all of their flaws and all of their faults and all of their mishaps that they've had in life, we have to go internal. But then say we do heal ourselves on the inside.
Yeah. But you see, I just want to stop you there. That's the point, you see.
Mm.
That's the point. When you make a judgment call about another individual, it's more often more about you than the other person, because you project your your insecurities
Yes.
and all of that. Therefore, one of the things that I often say,
Mm.
we do not see the world as it is, but as we are. Like two individuals who watch the ocean. Some of them might see it like, a lilting rhythm, the waves lashing on the rocks, the excitement, the joy they get. Another person may only see the receding waves, the lingering sadness. In the end, it's about who you are. And that's a very, very critical thing. And therefore, when you are marrying someone, you mustn't marry someone, make your wife as if she's your mother.
Right.
You understand?
Very important.
Very critical, right? Some people say, I'm not your wife. It seems like I'm your mother, right? So you got to deal with those issues. And I'm not saying that you must deal with completely. At least if you are in the root, because Islam is about gradualism,
Right.
and inshallah, that person can be an enabler. And therefore, for example, like you have this personality like mine. We are gregarious, we are social. Like my wife, she when I married her, she was an extreme introvert, and I'm an extreme extrovert.
Right.
And I understood that. I didn't expect her to be gregarious and social like me. But Alhamdulillah, today, Allah bless her. She can stand on the ground, she can assert herself, and she is, I remember some years ago, she told me, and I'm saying it on television, she said, I'm not a people's person. And today she's a people's person.
Wow.
She has friends throughout the world. But the whole thing is this, that we as a couple, we are there to grow together. Because one of the things that often happens in marriages, some people are on the same plateau when they marry. But sometimes what happens, one of them outgrows the other spiritually, and they find the relationship very, very boring.
That is such an important point, because most people, once they get married, find themselves very stagnant, not wanting to go further in life. And then you have another individual who says, wait a minute, this is not where I want to be in life. I actually want to springboard my life to another level. And then you got someone holding you back, someone trying to push forward. And of course, that's going to start causing huge conflict in a relationship. In any situation, it's going to cause huge conflict. So, of course, addressing all these issues before you get married is vital. Then, of course, the couple gets married, they've addressed issues, or they feel that they are perfect for each other. They have a beautiful wedding, alhamdulillah, the family comes together. They get married, the honeymoon phase is going well, adapting to a person becomes difficult. And if someone hasn't addressed their flaws, adapting to another individual, like you said, they start portraying and projecting who they are on that individual. And we've heard of so many marriages within the first year just falling apart, just based on this. What advice could you give to young couples, young people, just based on this?
Psychologists have said that the first 3 years are the most critical 3 years in marriage, because it's a time where you're getting to know your partner. You're getting to know their temperament. You're getting to know what their value systems are. You're getting to know what their social habits are. You're getting to know in terms of the social competence. You're getting to know what their attitudes are. And you're observing, you see, and that's very, very important. And sometimes you find that you may be inspired by some of the strengths of your partner and say, you know what, darling, I really like this quality in you. I don't have it in me. Come on, help me, right? Similarly, you might find a quality in that individual that is lacking, where the person has low self-esteem. So what do you need to do? You mustn't tease her. You mustn't poke fun at her. You mustn't humiliate her. But take her by the hand, nurture, let her grow, so she begins to appreciate the uniqueness of her character. And so these are very, very important and fundamental aspects. And it is precisely when these things are not addressed, they can become a recurring nightmare. Because in the end, all of us are products of our home environment. And much as you can extricate yourself physically, but psychologically, it is very, very different. So I think, the critical three things are important. One, there must be empathy. Secondly, you must be non-judgmental. Thirdly, you need to work as a team,
Wow, that's such brilliant advice. And I think a lot of people fall short with that. So when we get back from the break, I need to take a short break, right? But when we get back from the break, this is getting really deep. It's getting really intense. People are starting to understand that it's introspection as well as awareness that can help you in a relationship. And we'll dive deeper into that after the break. I know this is informative. I know you are totally captivated, asking yourself the question, am I doing the right things in my relationship? And we will help you answer that just after the break. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Uncle Idris, before the break, we were talking about awareness, we were talking about introspection in terms of us learning our relationship, learning our partner, and understanding that relationships are like a business and you have to invest in it. You can't just get into this, sit back and think it's going to work out without any effort from my side. How important is the effort an individual puts in? Is it a give and take relationship? Is it a take and take relationship? Is it a give and give relationship? What do you think?
You see, firstly, one of the important things is this, that you cannot be a spectator in your own life. You might have been a spectator at home and you might have been mollycoddle, feeling entitled, where your parents are like your slaves, giving you whatever you want, and they pander to your whims and fancies. So what happens when you come out of that? You have a jaundiced view of life. You think this is it. I'm the man. I'm the center of my life, and my woman is going to serve me, right? What is important is when there is reciprocal understanding, where there is a mutual commitment and investment in a relationship. It's a two-way street, and that's fundamental. One of the things that, when I do in the marriage program, I show you 3 circles. The one circle is where the radius is in the center, right? There's north and south, where the man says, it's me, I'm in charge. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not in the Islamic sense, more in the patriarchal mode.
Right.
The feminist movement, they said, hey, no, we are in charge. They are on top, we are at the bottom. But the Islamic one is a very beautiful one, the same circle, but the radius goes longitudinally,
okay,
not latitudinally. Okay. And there is an axis. What does the axis say to you? That when there's pressure in terms of my wife, I'm supportive of her. I take her by the hand. I'm there for you. When she knows that I'm under pressure in my own realm of work, whatnot, she says, I'm there for you. This is what it's all about, right? It's not about talking about, site of contestation and struggle. I'm in charge here. You know what I mean? I'm the man.
Yes.
You know how the people when you got married. I remember when I was getting married, right, the day before, a friend of mine, I won't mention him. I hope you watch the program. He said, Idris, the night of your honeymoon, you take your pants off. You tell the wife whose pants is this? That kind of talk, right?
Yes.
And that talk is very toxic, is very, very unhealthy. It's about both people investing. You can only invest when the person is receptive to it, when the person calls out to you, when they're in pain, when they tell you, I'm in need, where the conversation, when you're not walking on eggshells. And so for me, it's an investment on both parts. The man must be the man, the protector. The woman must be the woman, the nurturer. And inshallah, together, they can create a complete whole.
We often hear that men are different, women are different, and we know they are. Biologically, we are different, we are wired differently, we think differently. Everything about us is very different. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, men are logical, women are emotional. How important is it as a man for you to understand the way a woman thinks is very different to the way we think? And in doing that, our words need to change, our actions need to change, our caring nature needs to change. Is it a vital part of making a relationship?
No, it is fundamental. I mean, the thing about being different is one aspect, but there's also a uniqueness about it. You got to understand the uniqueness of your partner. It can only come about when there is a healthy conversation. One of the questions I often say you must ask your spouse, of the many things that I do for you, what is it that you love most? And it will shock you. What you may think as unimportant for her is the most important thing, number one. The second question to ask, of the things that I don't do, what would you like me to do will make you feel as if you are the queen? This is it. You see, we make assumptions. You rather do a biopsy rather than an autopsy. Rather than at the end of your life, when you're looking back and suddenly you realize, my gosh, I assumed that I was the cause of happiness in my wife's life, but unbeknown to me, I was the cause of a lot of pain. So I think it's important to have those conversations and to speak with an open heart and listen empathetically, not only to the words, the emotions of the words. Do not make your wife feel that when you talk to me, I'm in charge, you're going to walk on eggshells.
Wow, no, this is incredible because most men have that patriarch mindset that says, my woman is beneath me. I'm going to come home, put my feet up. She needs to bring my tea. She needs to bring everything to me. I am the king. And yes, men have a place. Husbands have such a high status in Islam. But I always truly believe that if you want to be a king, you need to treat your wife like a queen. And I think that that is so vital. And we're really losing that aspect because how many of us truly understand the love language of our partner? And love language is such an important thing. I think that understanding the love language, you'd be able to love them better. Understanding the love language, you'd be able to understand them better. And you'd be able to see within them who they are. Do you think love language plays such an important role?
It's an incredible role. I mean, the critical aspect is, how do you like me to show you affection? Asking the wife the question. What is it that will give you comfort? The other important thing you need to ask your spouse, right? In terms of you as your life, as it were, what you think will, when you look at me, you will say, my gosh, he really responded to my authentic need. And ask the question, when you're going through challenges in your mind, how does it manifest in your behavior? She might say, darling, when I go through that, I'd rather have a nap. When I go through that, I don't want to speak to anyone. Right?
Now you're starting to understand
the uniqueness,
Right.
And you do not say this, for example, that when you're having a discussion, if there's a disagreement and your wife walks away, you don't say, but why are you walking away?
Right.
Why are you walking away? Come on, where's your guts now? You understand?
Yes,
So
yes.
this is really, really unfair, because a critical thing in marriage, and something that perhaps we need to speak about some other time, the need for everyone to develop EQ, emotional intelligence. It is so fundamental. Once you attain the EQ, you'll be able to manage and navigate all the turbulent waters,
There's so much information out there. We have the ability to understand EQ. We have the ability to try and gain the knowledge on it. But so many of us feel it's not necessary. I know how to handle my spouse. I know how to handle my wife. I know how to handle my husband. I am in charge here. Is that the ego standing in the way?
It is the ego and also a lot of ignorance. And when you look at the life of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was the most eloquent exponent of the EQ. Now, I'll give you one example in his life. One example quickly, right? The example was, Bibi Aisha said, I was lying next to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and I was enjoying my closeness to him. Then he said to me, do you mind if I get up to read, I think, Qiyamul Layl? Now look at it. Did he need her permission to speak to Allah? But he asked her. He asked her, right? He asked her. And she said, as much as I love my closeness to you, but I love what you love. How beautiful is that?
There is such a brilliant way of looking at it.
How beautiful. How much of love there is in that, Words, you must use purring words, not snarling words. You must not make your wife look like a diminutive, like a minion. You make her feel strong. And you tell her when you see her, my baby, I like it.
Look, we are getting pearls of wisdom here from the love doctor himself. In all honesty, these are things that I wish people could really take in, understand, because it's going to change your life. It truly is going to make, first of all, you a better individual, and then make your family life even more wonderful. And when that's good, and your family life, and that's a safe space for you to be in, nothing in this world comes close to you. You started off by saying that we are garments to our spouses. The Quran says that we are garments to each other. A garment is a protector. And if we are there to protect each other, then of course we would need to do everything in our life possible to protect each other. Uncle Idris, before we end the show, there's just 2 minutes left in the show, but there's such a vital question that I've been dying to ask you. If today was your last day on earth, hypothetically speaking, right? And you could give 3 pieces of advice to the world, and this is the only 3 pieces of advice that would be left for Uncle Idris in this world. Nothing else that you've done before will ever be remembered or heard ever again. But you could leave us with 3 pieces of advice. What would those 3 pieces of advice be?
I would say to them, develop a deep and profound love for the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Connect with him as you've never connected with him. The second piece of advice I would give them, not in that order, I'd say if you got your parents, when they call you, no matter what you're doing, they are your single most important priority. The third advice, you can have the best persona in the public domain. The acid test is not so much who you are in the public domain, but who you are at home.
Wow, Uncle Idris, I really want to acknowledge you for the individual you are, for the wisdom you share with us. Thank you so much for allowing us to dive into your mind and to understand the importance of really introspecting. I know this has been so informative for you. I have goosebumps sitting here. Really, it's been an incredible, incredible show with lots of wisdom from our brother, Uncle Edris Khamissa, who truly is the love doctor. And in his words, in your lifetime, it is better to do a biopsy than wait for the autopsy. This is motivation, and let me motivate you.